All right, everybody, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for everybody coming today. I appreciate it. I'm Denise Gastasi with Progress Ohio. I'm here today to just try to help facilitate this press conference. The press conference today is it's the Protect Ohio Workers Labor Table. It's their lobby day. So there are a lot of workers around here lobbying. And of course, the main discussion is regarding the state budget. I'm going to go through the list of, we have 4 speakers here today. I'll go through the list of the 4 speakers, just go through a few points real quick, and then I'll introduce the speaker and facilitate, and then there'll be time for questions and answers. We will be sending out, right after the press conference, we will be sending out a press release. The 4 speakers that we have, it's Greg Mild, who was Outstanding Member of the Year for the Columbus Education Association, Nikki Regano, who's a Customer Service Coordinator in several local grocery stores in the area, Mike Weinman from the Fraternal Order of Police, and then we will finish up, our last speaker will be Dan Heck with Working America. And of course, the important reason why we're here today is because we feel that despite some of the positive changes that were made to the state budget by the Senate Finance Committee, this spending plan still remains deeply flawed. Simply put, it takes the state in the wrong direction. It still deprives local communities of the resources needed to pay for public schools and basic services. It passes the buck to cities and towns and forces them to make the tough choices on how to do with more with less. It does not create jobs, which is very important in this day and age. Even worse, it could lead to some 50,000 jobs being lost in local communities. We are here today to let lawmakers know that more work, much more work, needs to be done to improve the state budget. There are still too many provisions in the spending plan that drive down the standard of living for working families. So I will then pass it on to Greg Mild, again, who was the Outstanding Member of the Year for the Columbus Education Association.
Hello. My name is Greg Mild. I'm a teacher with the Columbus City Schools, and I'm also a proud member of the Ohio Education Association. I'd like to say that the Senate has begun to listen to the grave concerns about the budget, but educators all over Ohio remain alarmed at the financial problems now crippling our schools. The senators have restored a very small part of the funding shortfall for schools, $115 million. But that only accounts for a small part of the $3.1 billion with a B cut in state and federal funding. It is a start, but it is still the overall wrong direction for Ohio schools and colleges. School districts are still in a financial crisis throughout Ohio, and students will be facing larger class sizes, fewer course choices, and a massive loss of educational opportunity at every level and in every community. We can find a better path. Some of the worst provisions of Senate Bill 5 now appear to be out of the budget, and we simply ask that the Senate continue to remove all of them. If the conference committee concurs, which we hope they will, Ohio voters will have their say on collective bargaining rights. This is about sustaining Ohio's middle class and the right to pursue rewarding jobs and careers with dignity. The senators can improve this budget by focusing on the essentials: quality schools to prepare students for careers. We don't believe the people of Ohio elected leaders to cut funding for public schools and colleges. The fact remains that the budget sustains tax cuts to corporations while leaving schools with $3 billion less in state and federal funding.
Thank you. And next we have Nikki Regano, Customer Service Coordinator in local grocery stores.
Good afternoon. My name is Nikki Regano, and I'm a 13-year employee at the local grocery store in New Albany, Ohio. I'm also a steward with my union, United Food and Commercial Workers, Local 1059. I live in Blackland, Ohio. Senator Kevin Bacon is my senator, and I had the opportunity to talk with his staff today. As I understand it, the revised state budget bill, the bill that deprives the communities of our basic services. Our cities and towns are forced to make hard choices about how to work with less. Our legislators are avoiding the reality of these decisions and passing the buck to local governments. The educator at my side comes into contact with our state's most valuable resources every day, our young Ohioans in public schools. Public school bus drivers protect our students to and from on their trips to school. Privatizing that service is a recipe for cutting wages to our bus drivers. Why should our state be devaluing a service and the workers who protect students from the road? The budget in earlier versions devalue the service and deprive our workers of family-sustaining wages. Our budget drives down standards for many more Ohio workers too, construction workers and other private sector workers. Under the budget, fewer construction projects will pay a prevailing wage to construction and building trades workers. This drives down standards for work and sends those workers home with less money for their families. There are even more exemptions to the state's minimum wage, where fewer workers would have the protection of a minimum wage. Our legislators are trying to make the minimum wage a state budgetary issue. It's certainly a family budget issue. And getting minimum wage protection wrecks family budgets. I work in customer service at a grocery store. The public I come into contact are our educators, our construction workers, our township trustees, their service workers, and their school bus drivers. The Ohio workers this budget is actually failing to protect. The meeting I had in Senator Bacon's office used partisan explanations for why the budget protects corporate tax breaks while depriving communities of budget dollars and workers with family-sustaining wages. We need more jobs. And our budget cuts 50,000 jobs and has been defended with partisan rhetoric. Ohio workers deserve better. The Ohio workers gathered here expect a budget that protects families, and we expect more progress from our elected legislators. Thank you.
And our third speaker is Mike Weineman with the Fraternal Order of Police.
Hopefully you can hear me. My name is Mike Weineman. I am with the Fraternal Order of Police of Ohio. I'm a retired Columbus police officer, and when we're touching on the subject of bus drivers, I just want to be known it was a private school bus operator that the Columbus police officers pulled off a bus for cocaine possession. It wasn't a public one. So with that said, the FOP is really concerned with the loss of local government funds. We're very appreciative of the $100 million increase that the Senate has put in local government funds. But at the same time, it's still a significant hit. You have the estate tax, tangible property tax. All these, we fear, will translate into loss of police officers. A direct layoff of police officers. A lot of our agencies have cut to the bone. They've cut all the way through the bone in some places, cut into the bone. And with the loss of these funds, a lot of our members have already made a number of concessions. The local government funds, the estate tax, and TPP are essential to our local communities. It's been a 76-year covenant between the state and the local communities. With that said, I turn it over. Thank you.
And again, Dan Heck with Working America.
Hi there. I'm Dan Heck with Working America. We're the community affiliate of the AFL-CIO, and we represent over 1 million working families across the state who don't have the benefit of a union on the job. We've been hearing all across the state on a listening tour that we've been conducting. People are incredibly upset about the destruction of jobs and the cuts to vital services in the state budget. We've had 17,000 conversations with people all across the state, from North Ridgeville to Macedonia to Cambridge to Trotwood, Ohio, and Zanesville, and plenty of places in between. And we feel that this budget, as proposed by the governor and as moved through the House, is an attack on working people and is an attack on the very fabric of our communities.
And I'm reminded of the conversations we've had with a number of our members, including Jesus, a veteran from Elyria, who was inspired by his 9th grade teacher to study and follow every issue and was deeply concerned about the cuts to education. To Jeremy, who's one of the many unemployed members we have, who is in Athens struggling to find work, and is shocked that this budget would destroy jobs when we obviously elected this government to do the exact opposite. And finally, I think a lot of Gladys, who's forced into retirement, but she's actually been forced to come back and work part-time because her retirement isn't enough for her. She's very concerned. She said, "I'm very concerned that these budget cuts will hurt the quality and response time of our first responders. My daughter was paralyzed in a car accident 7 years ago, and had there not been an officer who was able to quickly respond, she would not have survived." This budget is very real in the impact that it's going to have in our communities and the jobs that are going to be destroyed and the businesses that are going to lose customers. And we're going to continue to talk to and listen to people all across the state. We're grateful that a number of senators are starting to listen to their constituents on these issues and have made the budget somewhat less destructive, but we have a long way to go to where we have an actual working family budget in this state.
Now, we do have an opportunity if you have any questions for any of the speakers.
I think it was Nikki who had mentioned the minimum wage language that was included in the budget. Is there somebody that can explain exactly who that affects? We're told that it was designed to bring state law into alignment with federal law.
My understanding of it is that it basically lowers the window on who is eligible for minimum wage. So it's basically, what value do you place on who gets minimum wage? What job do you have to do in order to qualify for minimum wage? Is there a job that is so small that you don't qualify for minimum wage? It's basically taking away, money to have a decent life with your family. It's not about, extravagant vacations. It's about getting by.
Basically, it's 500,000. Federal law says it's those working in a place under 500,000 in revenue that's not subject to minimum wage. Is that what we're now complying with, or trying to measure law with at this point?
That I'm not exactly sure on the exact figure right now.
I had a question for Greg, Miles. You mentioned that the Senate took out some of the most egregious language. Can you tell me what that is and
which components
which components you were speaking of?
The most significant, I think that's gotten the most, are the performance pay, where they had the criteria that included test scores and a variety of issues that would determine pay versus any kind of bargain salary. And the second one would be the teacher and principal evaluations, which basically use the same criteria to evaluate, which also then rolled over into a pay. So you had a lot of double use of the same data, and because those were significant components of Senate Bill 5, we hope that will be decided on the ballot as opposed to pushed in through the budget bill.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. I appreciate all of you coming today.